I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, January the 14th, brought to you in part by ProBac Vaccines by Bimeda. This year, set your calves up for better success by strengthening your vaccine protocol with ProBac Vaccines. Other killed vaccines don't even come close. For more information, go to BimedaBiologicals.com. Delayed reaction. I told you I was a little frustrated or confused with your board, your feeder cattle board. It was up, but it wasn't up nearly as big as I would have thought it'd been, with grains down hard after that bearish WASDE report. Well, we got the delayed reaction on Tuesday. Your feeder cattle board was up big, about as much as I would have thought it would have been up on Monday. And your fed cattle board came up a little bit with it, but it's more tempered back a little bit. But your corn sure did stay down there after that down big on Monday. It was down a little bit more. Both your beans and your wheat came back a little bit more and pretty much erased any kind of weakness that was seen on Monday, even though their WASDE ended stocks came up a little bit or was larger than what they thought they would have been too. But corn definitely is on a downer, guys. I'll tell you what, live cattle futures sitting at 237 1/4. Feedlots are not going to trade anywhere near steady with a negative basis there, so packers are going to have to come up there. They're not getting along very well, not making any money, maybe losing some money. It happens. It happens to everybody in the cattle and beef business, guys. They're just going to have to face it and go on, guys. But the feedlots need to gain about $3 this week, and they need to start getting it done pretty quick. This is not going to last forever on your fed cattle end, guys. If you're going to get it up there close to 250, which is where a lot of these cattle break even that are in the feedlot right now, you need to be getting it up there pretty quick. Now, we got a cattle on feed report coming out here later this week on January the 23rd, and this report will likely be the most bullish that we see. It's likely to have the lowest on feed inventories in nearly 10 years, with the complete lack of any Mexican cattle on the list there in your Southern Plains feedlots, and they are running very, very short on supplies in the Texas Panhandle, Southwest Kansas, and Colorado. But I tell you what, that'll be a time to make hay. If we're going to get all we can get out of this market, the time to be doing it is right in there. And then the grazing cattle are going to be really hard to find, and they're going to be extremely high, higher than they are right now likely. And then after that, it's just how much longer we can keep on to this cattle market, and how long before it starts pulling back. I want to tell you about Redland Cattle Company in Bagwell, Texas. That's out on the Red River in East Texas, guys. They're having their 4th annual bull and female sale coming up here Saturday on January the 17th. They've got Red Angus, they've got Red Brangus, they've got Ultra Blacks, they've got both bulls and females of all those guys. It's Saturday, January the 17th at 1 o'clock. It's both the Red Bud Farms and the Woodland Ag outfit put together. They're going to be having it at the Woodland Ag headquarters. That's in Bagwell, Texas, but it's going to be on DVAuction too. So you can tune in there on Saturday, January the 17th at 1 o'clock p.m. Also, I want to tell you about Lynn's Heritage Angus. It's here. I'm going to be going to Byers, Oklahoma here on Wednesday, and getting ready for that sale, getting all set up, get the TVs going and everything for that sale. It's going to be happening on Thursday, 1 o'clock p.m. It's the 9th annual Lynn's Heritage Angus Bull Sale. They've got 160 Angus bulls to sell. They're going to have a lunch at 11 o'clock beforehand. Be sure and get there for that if you're planning on coming to the sale. But I tell you what, it's going to be a big one. Hope to see a lot of you there. The Lynn's Heritage Angus Bull Sale, and that's going to be on Thursday here, tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. Talk about your board on Tuesday. February live cattle futures were up $2 smooth at $237.25. April was up 290 at 238.97. Your back months on live cattle were all up, but only from 87 cents to as much as 280. January feeder cattle up 422 at 366.27. March feeder cattle up 595 at 362.12. So they're getting closer in line with your index levels, and they've been straight up this week, guys, too. But your back months on feeder cattle up 452 to up 615. You may be wanting to look out there out front, guys, and be getting a comfort level on getting an LRP or something like that. These things aren't going to stay up forever. They seem like it now, but at some point they're going to start weakening off, guys. Look at your grains. March corn down 1 3/4 cents a bushel at 4.19 3/4. Beans for March down 10 1/4 cents a bushel at 10.38 3/4. And Kansas City hard red winter wheat for March down 7 1/4 cents a bushel at 5.19 1/2. Fed cattle trade hardly anything, but we did have a couple little deals that happened on Monday evening. Iowa didn't have a thing on Tuesday during the reported hours, but they did sell about 100 head Monday night, and it was at 362 dress, so that would have been $3 off the market. But not sure why they sold them and why they sold them lower when the board's been up and everything else has been straight up, but that's what happened. Nebraska has not sold a hoof. Kansas sold about 100 head on Monday evening, and they were at 233 live, and that's fully steady. Didn't have any other direct trade out of your predominantly negotiated trade areas there, but we did have our market finder at Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. Price discovery, market transparency, you gotta love it. Brick and mortar sale barn where they bring the fat cattle in, they put them in front of the buyers bid till they don't want them anymore, and we see where the market's at. They had 1,900 in overnight, 2,950 in Yankton for their fed cattle auction on Tuesday. Conventional fed cattle sell from 228 to 230, 250. That was steady to $2 higher. Program cattle selling from 230 to 237. The going back to feed cattle, the ones that went back to feed, sell from 244 to 249. Gary Marks did mention that the Tyson buyer in there was still active. They're still buying cattle and putting them together there. So they haven't shut that thing down as of yet, but it'll be getting pretty close. Box beef cutout values were mixed on Tuesday. Choice cuts are up 88 cents at 357.99. Selects were down 87 at 357.18. So we did get a little bit of separation between choice and select. Select was not higher than choice on Tuesday like it was Monday afternoon. Slaughter come in after your first 2 days of the week at 232,000 estimated cattle slaughter. That's 1,000 less than this point last week, 9,000 less than this point a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Your punchy pick of the month contest, that's going to be coming up here before long, guys. Got our great sponsors to help us out with that. Great Plains Livestock Consulting, you might want to consider giving them a call. They do a good job. Great Plains Livestock Consulting gives a $200 gift certificate to Cavender's Boot City every month for the winner of the Kids Corral Punchy Pick. So we appreciate that, and the kids are having fun with that contest. And then, of course, the Punchy Pick of the Month contest, sponsored by Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma. Going to get a ton of swag from them. I've got a lot of it in my closet and drawers, and then I wear it very regularly. They got cool stuff. You're going to get a bunch of it, and then you're going to get a good amount of the Farapiece product and that appeasing product, scientifically proven product, and it's a great product there to calm those cattle down, release some of the anxiety, and help them perform to their peak right there. Check out this video at the end of the Feeder Flash episode for today. For more information on Farapiece, go to farapiece.com. Also, your feeder cattle market brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood right there in Carthage, Missouri. Your real-time index from DVAuction, late in the day on Tuesday after your big sales had all closed, sitting at 369.86. That was up 23 cents a hundred. So it was down moderately on Monday with those big commodity sales, and then on Tuesday came back just a little bit. But your latest CME cash feeder cattle index is real in there tight with your RTI, since the market is kind of planed out here towards the middle of this week at 369.12. Talk about your big sales that are going to happen here today. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma is planning on having about 7,000 head of feeder cattle for their auction there on Wednesday here. It's on DVAuction.com. You can view and bid that sale right there. Talk about your big sales that happened on Tuesday. Beaver, Oklahoma, Beaver County stockyards had 6,800 head. The market was down just a little. Your feeder steers weighing over 800 pounds, $4 to $8 lower. Those weighing under 800 pounds were steady to $5 lower. Feeder heifers were $3 to $5 higher. That tells me they're still wanting cattle to put on feed. They're just a little more price conscious than they had been. Steer calves ran evenly steady. Heifer calves steady to $5 lower. The market reporter, Savannah, she does a good job there. She did mention that it got better through the day, and some of the highest prices paid all day actually happened late in the sale. And Beaver was your Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard livestock handling equipment. Stick out sale of the day. You look at this automated market report from Cattle Market Central and you see your best tested weights there. I'll go down through them. They had 149 head of 4-weight steers in Beaver. They averaged 453 with a weighted average price of $534.78. 262 head of the 5-weight steers averaged 557 at $467.97. There were 905 head of the 6-weight steer calves. They averaged 657 at $416.56. 734 head of the 7-weight steers averaged 754 at $370.91. 1,259 head of the 8-weight steers averaged 853 at $346.04, and 794 head of the 9-weight steers averaged 931 at $328.95. Now look at some of the heifers. They had 244 head of the 4-weight heifer calves. They averaged 457 at $430.36. 558 head of the 5-weight heifers averaged 548 at $413.63. 580 head of the 6-weight heifers averaged 643 with a weighted average price of $369.20, and 534 head of the 7-weight heifers averaged 754 at $338.49. They had 353 head of 8-weight feeder steers in Beaver, Oklahoma at Beaver County stockyards. They averaged 832 with a weighted average price of $326.95. Look at some of your individual quotes from all around that I thought were stick out and ought to give to you. How about 4 state stockyards in Exeter, Missouri? They sold 229 head in one swath. 712-pound steers bring $395.25. How about Tri-State Livestock Exchange in Ray, Colorado? Having stock show specials out in that part of the country, guys, this week and probably next. They sold 60 steers, weighed 592 at $489. Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota sold 72 steers that weighed 808 at $382.50. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day come out of Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas. It was 78 steer calves, weighed 495 and bring $5.85 a pound. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.
Stress in your beef herd, dairy, or swine leads to weight loss, disease, and mortality, costing you peace of mind and profit. Stressful events such as transport, weaning, calving, and handling activate survival instincts in cattle, often leading to reduced dry matter intake, suppressed immunity, and increased risk of disease and mortality. Fera offers Fera-Peas, a proven solution with over 20 million doses sold. Fera-Peas, a synthetic analog of the maternal appeasing substance, naturally calms animals, helping to restore normal feeding behavior, promote hydration, and support immune function, ultimately improving health and performance. Trusted by producers and validated through multiple independent university trials, Fera-Peas has been shown to reduce disease incidence and mortality, ensuring greater animal welfare and improved profitability for cattle and swine operations. Fera-Peas address the stress, backed by science.